There are always visitors coming to Candlekeep, some passing through to get specific information in exchange for unique knowledge of their own, or the opportunity to let the avowed monks of the keep research and experiment with something directly, as is the case of the War Machine. We had a contingent of gnomish pilgrims heading from that coastal city of Baldur's Gate on their way back to the island of Lantern, a place I've yet to visit, though I hear great things about the place. Rumour was that the gnome engineers had attained some part of an infernal war machine and were seeking to replicate one. But the truth was, they had the whole damned thing intact and fully operational, and they just wanted to figure out how to build more of them. We were not aware that they carried the vehicle inside a massive collection of sturdy, rune-engraved stone crates loaded into this new kind of enchanted cart with many small solid wheels and heavy enchantments for reducing the weight of the cargo. Since all the crates were loaded with infernal iron parts, both the dismantled parts of the captured war machine and the crates of scrap iron and repaired soul engine for another complete machine. I would not have known if it wasn't for the spirit of the dragon that dwells in the deepest part of Candlekeep, but more on that some other time. These gnomes. The war machine was of a configuration typically called a demon grinder. It was broken down into parts that looked like they could be assembled into some monstrous machine scorpion, except it had 6 toothed metal wheels, a wrecking ball at the rear end, and an armoured hump back section bristling with harpoons, and a pilot compartment in the front end just behind a razor-sharp, articulated bunch of metal claws that could quickly shred any large or smaller target, spitting the gore and garbage out the side from heavy exhaust pipes, hence the name Demon Grinder. Demon Grinders weigh around a ton as far as I could tell and could fit 8 medium creatures on board as crew and passengers. There are other kinds of standard designs, more like purpose categories that the machines are built for, and the form they follow is represented here by a typical example. Still, the sheer variety of the actual war machines is mind-boggling. It seems like every single one of them is the temperamental, one-of-a-kind, murderous, demon-possessed, weirdly alive carnival ride of death, hand-built, not a standard part to be found on any of them. It's all custom-made from scratch, with a lot of spare parts now self-repairing on the more ancient and blood-soaked machines. All infernal machines are immune to fire, poison, and psychic damage, plus they can't be blinded, charmed, deafened, frightened, paralyzed, petrified, poisoned, stunned, or knocked unconscious. The first category of use is the fast scout vehicles and transports. They sacrifice protection for speed and have excellent detection range. The most common configuration is shaped like a 2-wheeled motorcycle, at least 500 pounds, large-sized vehicle designed for one pilot with enough engine grunt to jump the hellbike 60 feet over a bottomless chasm. Still, they otherwise have a speed of 120 feet per round and don't expect them to conform to the laws of gravity. Some don't have any wheels at all. They have rotating rings of hellfire or a group of insectoid metal legs and the long, loping gait of a cheetah. A few are veteran vehicles that have been off-world and adorned with the grisly trophies of the Blood War. The demon horns, spiked chains, razor-edged war banners, and embedded spears and axes add to the lethal machine's armaments and mystique. Despite all this, the wheeled infernal war machines tend to suffer the same fault, which is getting knocked prone off their wheels, flipped. Most can't right themselves until pulled upright by the machine. Fast transports can be just a single-bladed wheel, with a pilot inside a well-protected core, or something that looks like a metal sea urchin shredding anything that touches its spinning surface. War machines that bore through the ground are standard enough, particularly in the frozen layer of Cania, leaving smooth-walled tunnels through the ice behind them in erratic and difficult curves and changes in direction. These spinning pods are also great for securely transporting cargo through the Nine Hells and can be piloted by an imp with great skill, particularly those imps who have lost or given up the ability to fly. Packed with infernal warheads, a salvo of piloted rock torpedo war machines can devastate fortifications or much larger war machines. It's like the Battle of Helm's Deep in Lord of the Rings, except the bombs are zipping around under the ground, piloted by deranged goblins smoking cigars. Bounty hunters build a lot of the larger Infernal War Machines, also squads of elite forces, the infernal version of adventurer groups, and pretty much any official getting driven around by an underling pilot. Anything an armoured hot rod or off-road tank can do, the demon grinders and similar vehicles can do. What we might call a flatbed truck or a pickup, the devils call a salvage barge. Not bristling with weapons normally, but a powerful engine core that can haul a lot of weight, and a frame that is fortified in rune-enchanted infernal iron that can take quite a beating and keep on trucking. Salvage barges are easily modified by stacking and welding anything else you might need, hence a long-range cruiser for a small group of bounty hunters is one of the more interesting variants. Strap a lot of power onto a barge and you get a raider transport, fast, tough, with plenty of room and easily repaired. Larger barges convert into mobile siege platforms and tankers with projectors that shoot intense hellfire called immolators, and at the same time some have elevated towers built onto them with heavy energy beam projectors mounted on top. A bunch of converted and heavily armoured barges together form an effective mobile defensive wall. They are a type of massive tracked wall, with the tracked surface making up most of the wall surface. So anything attempting to get over or past the wall has toothed infernal iron tracks to deal with on top of everything else. Up from that size we get into the heavy cruisers, industrial vehicles, siege engines and destroyers, which are fast, agile, loaded with ranged weapons and very good hunter-killers of other infernal war machines. Most adventurers visiting the Nine Hells would be best to steal one of the Tormentor pattern war machines. This handles like a dune buggy or a monster truck. What it doesn't smash through with its huge size and 3,000 pound armoured frame is it churns over with its bladed metal wheels. It'll often just smash apart and grind underneath it. Often used for scouting and raiding, the 4 medium-sized creatures can fit comfortably inside. It's a magical vehicle, so its damage is all considered magical. The crushing wheels require DC 13 dexterity saving throws from those in its path, or they take 2d10 bludgeoning damage immediately, while getting knocked prone or getting run over for an extra 2d10 bludgeoning damage if they are already sprawled on the ground. Also, anytime the vehicle moves past an adjacent creature that is not prone, it rakes them with the scythe blades, inflicting 2d10 plus 2 slashing damage. Again, they get a dexterity save to try to get out of the way at any time. These vehicles are weapons that can be armed with a harpoon or other light-mounted cannon. Not all cruise positions on a vehicle need to be taken up by the living. The necromantic conversions are common in places where lone or pairs of bounty hunters cruise the hells for their prey. The twin harpoon pods can be attached to a dedicated undead servitor, slightly more capable than a skeleton, made of much the same thing but radically altered to be part of a necromantic war machine. There are some limitations to using necromancy with infernal machines, but they're not a huge limit, such as not being able to hold a group of fully aware and intelligent undead which can independently pilot the vehicle and operate the weapon systems or other infernal gadgets. That tends not to work. Necrotic smoke screens are common though. They release a 30-foot cube of opaque smoke directly in front or behind the war machine, which remains there for about a minute and inflicts 66 necrotic damage on creatures that start their turn in the smoke. The modification involves valves, pipes and tanks which automatically refill every 24 hours. Soul spikes, golden gilded armor of Mammon, teleporters, long-range communicators, detectors, landmines, invisibility gadgets are all possible. There are large groups of devils who spend a lot of time finding salvage and fixing up or servicing infernal war machines. It's a whole economy. The Nalfeshni devils make excellent fat slob bullies who run despotic mechanical workshops and vehicle armories. They are thoroughly corrupt and lorded over anyone they get even a little bit of influence over, such as customers waiting on vital vehicle repairs. Keep a close eye on them. They are known to take shoddy magical shortcuts on the repairs, and you may end up with a weapon system which gained a self-repair function but is now possessed and very, very angry. The Nalfeshni stock their machine shops with infernal cyborgs that were once fairly powerful ghouls and devourers, plus they have figured out how to rewire beholder brains and rig them up with servo tentacle arms that make incredibly handy workshop engineers. There are rumours of super heavy infernal war machines and vehicles so large they remain submerged in the landscape of Avernus, only moving when teleported directly into massive battles of the Blood War. Vehicles of that size are adventure locations more than players taking a role as a component of a vehicle. They're moving around it to deal with sabotage, repairs, reloads and such. And the supermassive fortress machines also come loaded with a teeming ecosystem of golems and imps, all working to keep their home, their towering war machine, up and running. There's a lot more to cover on Infernal Machines and the special forces of the Nine Hells. In the meantime, my name is AJ Pickett, your Sage of Candlekeep. As always, thanks for listening, and I'll be back with more for you very soon.